80 weeks or 90 weeks. But it's okay, Prabhu. Even if it is some years also, we'll go through like this because we are hearing so much nectar from you. So time is just passing like that. So we will go slowly only, Prabhu. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. I hope other devotees also okay with us.
I hope this 10 people at least continue. It will be very difficult because in this fast pace, we will see whatever Krishna inspires, because it was not planned. We don't plan it like today we will write this many verses, today we will do this many pages, whatever. So like I thought we will be able to do the 11th verse Wednesday, but you know, we don't know how Krishna takes us through, right? Let's see how things go. Anyway, you all have gone through this text. So instead of me talking, let's discuss with whatever you had found out to be some good points. I know Shiva Prabhu is also there. So Prabhu, did you note down some nice points, Prabhu? Salient points. I mean, every line is a salient point, but we have to
1, 5, 10, right?
Yeah, 11, Prabhu. 10 we completed. No, 11. That is the misdirected civilization. Revolution in the.
I have some realization I have written separately. Maybe
Okay.
after the meeting I can draft and send it to you.
Oh, that is okay. You can share some of them here also. Devotees would get to. Here anyway, I will leave it to you. Suresh Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Please
Yes,
go ahead. Some things which really you appreciated. This whole purport is about Bhagavatam, isn't it? Glorification of Bhagavatam.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Right? Because in this particular the previous verse was talking about the crows like literature, how it is different from the swan like literature, people also and literature also. And in this specifically, when it says on the other hand, Narad Muni is specifically talking about the glorification of Krishna and his devotees, which is which is nothing but the subject matter of Bhagavatam. So yes, Prabhu, please go ahead. I think Chanchalapati Prabhu is in office, so he is chatting, he's texting. So you go ahead, Suresh Prabhuji.
This Bhagavatam, there is a great need of spreading this Bhagavatam. That is Prabhupada is insisting.
Beautiful point.
So,
Yes,
because that entire this Kali Yuga is full of provocation, of slight provocation. There are big fight from big society to office to family to first even self also. He's getting provocated for even the small disturbance to his desires. So for that reason, Prabhupada insisting, no, it should be gone to every nook and corner of the world and to each and every soul. In their heart, it should get pierced. It should be injected in the hearts of each and every individual. That is
the word you used is very interesting, Prabhu. Injected into the heart of each individual. Why injecting? It's called Prabhu Maharaj also used to use this word very much. Intravenous injection. Why injection?
This we are now we take the horse to the water, but it is not sucking. Now that's why we are injecting.
it will rebel and try to go away, no? So you have to put injection.
We want to inject in the blood and the heart so that he is not personally taking interest to learn this. So in that case, what we have to do is injecting.
Yeah.
Like medicine, if the medicine, if the child is not taking, then the doctor says finds another option is inject it.
Yeah.
Like that, this is the need now. This child, the children of this world, earth, and they are not interested in this, and they are in material desires. So we need to inject it like this.
That's interesting. Because having gone through so many injunctions in my mouth, I could feel how effective it is. Because if they had cut open the skin or this thing, no, without putting the injection, for example, the anesthesia injection, whatever, then it will be very difficult to bear the pain. So, whereas if you just put that little bit of that thing, that time it will be painful. But after that, they can do anything they want, cut open, stitch, anything they want, it doesn't pain. So that way also, this intravenous injection, it acts very quickly, and it is very, it acts very quickly, and also it is very powerful. Like even when we are in the hospitalized, then they put that intravenous thing continuously. The food goes through the veins. No, it's not, even though we cannot eat or drink through the mouth. So that way also it is it goes fast. It directly applied to the thing. So in such a case, what happens is the qualification of the person is it is indeed important. The one who is the recipient is indeed important, but it is not absolute necessary. Otherwise, Kali Yuga, none of us are qualified to even hear or delve deep into this great literature. It's not possible to think over and understand. But like that, doctor putting the injection, and then cures immediately. Like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the in the disabling succession, Srila Prabhupada especially has put this intravenous injection in the form of Bhagavatam. That way, even though we may not be qualified to receive it, we have been made to be qualified. We have been made we have been made to be qualified to receive this subject matter by the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas in our Guru disciple succession. Thank you for that wonderful point, Prabhu. And this relates very much to that one shloka, isn't it? Prayana alpayusha sabya kalavasmin yuge janaha mandaha sumandamatayo mandabhagyachi upadruta. Upadruta means always disturbed and quarrelsome. Kalavasmin. So then alpayush also. For this and all, we need to take so much time. It requires to dive into this subject matter and meditate and contemplate on subject matter. But when we are not able to have so much time, then something fast has to be done, something quick remedy. That's why Harinam, Sankirtan, and the devotee association, Prasadam. These are all the quick fix solution, long lasting but quick solutions. So that's a very important point. Thank you for that, Prabhu. And that shloka is also very much in relation to this. Shiva Prabhu, I see you raise your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji. I have noted some points on misdirected civilization. And last week we touched one line. Without touching Bhagavatam, we will never realize how we are misdirected. Let me give some examples. For example, we are totally dependent on, for example, government or corporates to generate our revenues and our needs. But if you say, last week I traveled in a train, so many unreserved will usually board the reserved class also.
Correct.
And people are thrashed, and there is a lot of push and pull and hue and cry. The main reason behind this is there is unlimited unreserved tickets which are sold to maximize the revenue. That's the basic reason for all the hue and cry. So somebody does this for revenue maximization, but people who are totally unaware or ignorant about this, they are all crushed. Similarly, in the same way, somebody wants to maximize revenue in corporate, but everybody else is crushed. So which means we are all misdirected in terms of maximizing revenue and profits, but we do not know how much we are offending our I mean, our peers, our seniors, or our the mass as a whole. So unless we touch Bhagavatam, we will never know that we are doing something wrong.
Very wonderful point, Prabhu. Wonderful
we
point.
will always justify I'm maximizing revenue, but actually I'm offending a lot of people.
So the value for human relations, human, the inter relations or whatever, those things are given lesser priority as compared to satisfying our greed, satisfying our pride and whatever, right? All those things, they are in fact what is actually wrong in its value from a human thing is considered as right. What is right
Yes.
is considered as wrong.
Exactly, Prabhuji. So even every month I draw some salary, but I don't know how much, or I would have stamped somebody to come up.
That's a wonderful point. And we have no option but to stamp on, isn't it?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. So that's what I thought, this misdirected civilization. And last week we read.
And the other, it has so many different branches, Prabhu. If you see misdirected, it's not only about our greed, it's also, on the other hand, it is laziness. Like because of the laziness, we invent so many, what do you call, artificial machines. Like the mixer grinder, from starting from there to refrigerator to microwave oven to washing machine to every single thing to less. Now these AI robots are coming and threatening the life of humans. Now those who are inventing themselves, they are saying that yes, this is going to destroy the world. And you can see how in the one side, the exploitation tendency is there from those who are on the prime position. On the another side, this greed is there. So people, they exploit each other. They promise something like, I will give you, I will fulfill your desire. But then in that process, you become a completely slave of that. In the beginning, they will give you free, and slowly they will catch you, and then they will make you pay for it. And then once they see that you cannot do without it, then they will make sure that they will increase the price and exploit you so much. Like the flight tickets, for example. Earlier, it used to be you can fly like 2,000, 2,200 rupees also you can fly. But now they have a whatever they can increase the price as how they want, dynamic fare they call it. And then people have to pay just to go from Chennai to Bangalore, or Bombay, they have to pay 20,000 rupees easily they pay, and they don't mind doing it. I see.
So enslaving our mind and body both.
Yes, enslaving the mind and body. They first grab you with the desire from the mind, then finally the desire gets fulfilled, the body gets accustomed to that alasya, the laziness, then easily they capture you after that. It's like that rat being trapped in with mouse trap, mouse being trapped in the mouse trap. They show you some eatable, and then once you go in, they catch you. Thank you, Prabhu. Suresh Prabhu, sorry, you were going to say something.
Prabhuji, one more point Prabhupada mentioned is that the common general public is a puppet of the leaders, under the hands of the leaders, political leaders. And if we can make them educated in Bhagavatam and make them devotees, then things can change in a large way. That's what is interesting. And as a small attempt by the ISKCON, recently there is a cow protection this commission is made in the Maharashtra state, and one of the members selected is my counselor Shwetadeep Das from NBCC.
Oh, very nice. Yes.
Such devotees getting in this political arena, and they start controlling or guiding the government at least, will certainly help in a big way to the people, and then it will inspire a lot of common people.
Yes, Prabhu. It is required even in the education field also. Very good that, the cow protection side, some sanity is coming. Maharashtra, there is a bit of sanity there in one sense, Prabhu. I mean to say, people uh, thinking of worried about the culture being lost, getting lost. There are more
That
people are
awareness
there.
is there.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, in other atheistic governments, they even take a vow that they will finish off the Sanatan Dharma and religious people, etc. So it's somehow, I don't know how long this will run, but at least some awakening in some pockets it is happening. So which is good. But lot more is required. Like
Yeah.
say when you see someone who talks about the how should I say, like someone who is maybe they may take different ways, the way of expressing may be different for different people, that you see sometimes even recently one of our leaders was banned for some time, but actually speaking I don't see that to be like a major cause for banning and other things. There are even worse things were being said for by the others and for about the others, etc. But this sometimes, when the things are turns political, when spiritual this thing turns political, maybe seeing at the growth way of ISKCON, how people are growing so fast and they are making sense to the people. What the do's and don'ts part of it, then it becomes a challenge. That's where this misdirected civilization takes control. I mean, when you tell good things also, commonsensical things also, common sense is uncommon. They say, because nonsensical people cannot understand what is common sense. So that's what happens really. Mm. This is all one another side of the thing. Misdirected civilization means the politicians, the leaders, so-called leaders, they are misdirected, and as a result, even those who are trying to do good also will be, taken to task. But Prabhupada always said this, that in this world where envy, pride, and greed and lust these are prominent, this is no place for gentlemen. So when we are taking this role of a gentleman, we have to be careful that we are talking to fools, predominantly foolish people. So we can't help it. We have to be really patient. That is what Prabhupada always said. Prabhupada and even
And
his guru
Prabhupada
also
said,
said it.
we are responsible for such foolish leaders, he said.
Yeah, it's not just us. We means it includes all the entire public. No,
Yeah,
we
totally.
normally don't.
Common public.
Mm, Normally, we don't elect such people, but what happens is majority. This is the deficiency of democracy, right? Just because a majority goes for someone, then easily you can get it, and the majority of the people, as it is, they are unintelligent, so they will select only those who are like either crooked intelligent or unintelligent people only, not those who want to make sense or do good to the world. But this is where you see, when you see Prabhupada's contribution, it makes all the more, it becomes all the more magnified in our eyes, because for someone to create a worldwide organization, you know, taking advantage of a few people, engaging just a few people and then making it a worldwide organization and then letting it run in spite of even 50 years after his departure, it and only in growing and leaps and bounds, it's no mean task. It's a magical feat. Even now, in his physical absence, it's still growing only. While there are certain areas where we make a fine tune to avoid dilution of the concept of the philosophy, etc. Of this our what do you call, approach, etc. But by and large, it is really healthy. If you see, for most temples, the wherever it is being managed nicely, there is good things happening. But this is still very, very less compared to such a wide this misdirected civilization. That's why Prabhupada used this word misdirected civilization, which is not available in the translation directly. Where I see Prabhupada is deriving it from is the Janata Agha. The people in general are sinful. That is where I think Prabhupada is deriving the word misdirected civilization, because it's a misdirected civilization that will do that will be largely sinful in nature, isn't it? We don't care for. Like misdirected means what? We send something like, hey, no, this will harm this person. You should not do it. It's violence. But the misdirected one will say that it doesn't matter. You are, at the end of the day, you should do whatever it takes to, for your material and spiritual progress. It doesn't matter if somebody gets inconvenienced on the way. Like Shiva Prabhu just brought it up earlier, that how many people I stamped over to get this salary. That's a very interesting, very contemplative and introspective statement. How many times do we think when I get the salary that how many people did I inconvenience in this process? But that's where the whole thing is between the crow and the swans. It's such a big difference there. Thank you. Shiva Prabhu, sorry.
Yes, Guruji. One more topic on this misdirection is the invention of currency, Prabhuji. I'll tell you relatively why. For example, in olden days, the king used to charge tax for the people, and people followed barter system. So everybody has to work, and they exchange their work in terms of produce or service. And king taxes say the 20 bags of rice. So he cannot accumulate more than 20 because it will go waste. And people cannot retain more than 80 bags because that will also go waste. Okay, so people will consciously make a ratio about taxation. In current system, since currency is introduced, I can simply take 100 rupees. If you make 100 rupees, I can simply take 100 rupees from your packet. Even if I don't work or put labor, if I have power, I can simply draw that 100 rupees.
Yeah.
The entire amount. So this moving away from barter system and introduction of currency is actually a kind of misdirection only. So
obviously, very nice point.
The best way we can do is we can encourage people who are doing agriculture. We can support them, get some bags and produce and fruits from them. So we can try as much help that form. Otherwise, we are actually helpless. General public
beautiful. This is a beautiful point you have brought, Prabhu. Actually, one of my friends took a beautiful topic on this called Vedic economics. He saw how the economics worked in the Vedic system and how it has been completely, literally destroyed in the current economic system. I would try to get some. I mean, we discussed about it long ago, so I don't remember exactly. Like the same thing that you talked about, the barter system, how earlier the currency and those things were handled, how it is handled now. It is completely cheating.
Currency was very limited. During the time, currency was very limited.
In fact, the currency used was kaudi. The shells that are available in the the beach shores, which you collect. That is what was used as a currency.
Okay.
So anybody can go collect this thing and still do it. That's called kaudi. But of late, the currency coins, notes, and all these things were brought into place, and it's all in their own way. It happens. And I will try to get those points across for you, Prabhu. I mean,
Okay.
for everyone here. This is a very beautiful concept, and so much appreciated by we took that Prabhuji, he took it for when we did some courses for MBA batch of a college. He took that class and it was really appreciated, and 2-3 other places also, in 2-3 other batches also, they wanted to conduct for this, because it's a very beautifully brought out how Varnashrama system was designed to, and it incorporates Vedic economics in it to keep everybody happy and satisfied, and not live in greed and fear and anxiety all life. So that's something which I think we should take it as a, maybe I will try to get some important points from there for
Okay.
all of you, sharing it with all of you.
I'll share one crazy point about money. We are artificially building money over money. For example, interest on interest, interest on capital. So which is like making money from money. So that's how banks and other institutions survive. So I mean, I'm in interest rate products for last 15 years. So I know how crazy they are making to multiply money from money. So once there is no base, it will all fall down. It's all inflated, Prabhuji. All real estate, interest rate products. So it's all inflated. Once we fail down, or when we come to a recession, then everything has no value. Nothing has any value.
Like it happened in 2008 in the US, no?
Yes. Yes.
It's bound to happen in other places also. Like the same house which they brought for mortgage for this loan thing, they had to mortgage those houses, and nobody was willing to buy even for $10, $20 also. The thing which they were like $300,000, $400,000 houses, and it's just so badly affected. That's why the whole world collapsed during that recession period in 2008.
Yes, Prabhuji. So there's one beautiful line in finance. We say all values are perception. We value something, but it is all perceived. But it is actually taken from spirituality only. This value that we think is only perception.
Yeah.
And we are paying a lot for this artificial value.
Amazing words, Prabhu. Value is only perception. And unfortunately, our human values are also, to the extent on we are perceiving it as important, to that extent only it is valuable. But yeah, there is definitely hope. But it takes some time. In our lifetime, at least we can think. That's why Prabhupada, when writing this purport, no, he's so grave. Do you feel that Prabhupada is very grave in this purport? I mean, of course, he is grave in all purport, but he is even more grave, if I have to say that way, because he's talking about a general mood is very as one of gravity, like there's two countries are fighting. I want somebody to throw some light on this part also. Why suddenly Prabhupada is bringing this India-China thing, and that is even now happening, which is interestingly true. So why Prabhupada is bringing that India-China thing here?
I think
How
in
does it connect?
1965 to 73, this war was going.
Yeah.
So it was sensitive during that time in India, Prabhuji.
Yeah, that's correct. But how is Prabhupada connecting these two? The purport of this verse in terms of the literatures which are enjoyed by the swan-like people. What is the power of those swan-like literature, and why this fight is going on?
I think the simply put, both countries moved away from godliness. That's the reason he's trying to bring out.
So he's specifically bringing out this point that there is a systematic propaganda. Systematically, there is a propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and fame of the Supreme Lord. There's a very interesting thing which is highlighted in italicized also. It is in this thing. Stop the glorification of name and fame of the Supreme Lord. Specifically, there are some people who are, trying to. They are very demoniac, like just like Hiranyakashipu and Ravana and all. Like that, specifically you see there are people who have this agenda to demean God consciousness, and those who are those who are actually they are trying to spread God consciousness, So there is it's a difficult thing now to go out on a Harinam Sankirtan and do. It's not so easy. It's not so easy to do Harinam Sankirtan on the streets in the Bharat and so-called Bharat. It's much easier to do it in the Western world, not so much in India. We need to get permission. The person who is like in Tamil Nadu, we have this interesting thing of government is taking over the control of important temples. So even to do some Harinam Sankirtan near that area, you have to get permission from the officer of who is heading that temple, the administrative side, who has nothing to do with spiritualism. He's a complete atheist. But for his satisfying his ego, he will say, he will make us run around, or he will. We have seen that in quite a few temples. This has happened. And unfortunately, the Brahmanas are the priests. I would say Brahmanas, but any priest, for example, they have no role to play other than simply just do the arati and just give the little prasadam to the visitors, devotees. So to that extent, things are degrading. That's why it's misdirected civilization, even more. So let's get back to this point about on this China India thing. What other thing Prabhupada is saying here? One is both of them were God conscious at some point in life, so some point in time. At that time, there was no fight over some small piece of land which is cannot be inhabited at all. So there was like friendly relation, like okay, it doesn't matter. You be happy. If you want, you take it. That's how they give. And the other side is, no, I'm not in need of it. Doesn't matter. If you don't want it, I also don't want it. I'm happy with what I have. This greed for the land, grabbing the land. So this grabbing tendency is something which is very much prominent in Kali Yuga. Even if it is not of use to me, I will still go and grab it. See, and that's where the biggest problem is there. So Prabhupada is bringing out the inherent negativities which are stopping us from living in peace and happiness. Unfortunately, everybody says that yes, we want peace and happiness in this world, to be spread in this world, and they are trying so many different ways, but they don't understand what stops them from what is preventing them till now. Because on the one side, I am blowing over the boil, and the other side, I am not taking care of the restrictive things, like what I am not supposed to do, what are the things that I should avoid, like the greed, anger, lust, pride, envy, etc. We don't want to give it up, but we want to be happy. The whole idea is only when these things go away, we can be truly peaceful and happy, which is even they are like very, very intelligent people, but they can't understand this small, simple thing, right? Prohibitions, that is also to be taken care of. Anyway, so anyone else did some good work? I got some very, really nice points from Suresh Prabhu and Shiva Prabhu. Suresh Prabhu, I looked like you were about to say something.
The Prabhupada worry is that the politicians, apart from politicians, that literature part is mentioning here. That is also very important.
Yes, Prabhu. Beautiful point you brought up. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
People are getting carried with the, even till I joined ISKCON, Prabhu, I remember I used to read the newspapers, magazines, and also many things. And at that time I used to want to develop taste for the reading, and I constantly used to buy magazines and read them. that time it was not means reaching out to the people every nook and corner with this message is very important. So that time nothing was available. Only these magazines were attractive, and then we used to read that. And till the first time we got into ISKCON, then we realized that is all mess and useless, and then we lost interest in it right now after reading all that. But that people are, a lot of people are not connected. They are suffering, and people like us should spread the news of this sweetness of Bhagavatam. That's what I feel.
Very, very beautiful point, Prabhu. Yes, thank you for getting out these different aspects of the one is the misdirection. Another is that the eagerness to read the literature. This is something which is very amazing because Prabhupada identified the inherent thirst in people to know about everything. That's jignasa, they say, inquisitiveness. That inquisitiveness is inherent in human beings. It's not so much in other bodies, right? In other units, but in humans specifically, this inquisitiveness is there. That is why Athatha Brahma Jignasa, it is said. And that jignas is when you are fed wrong information, then you go in the wrong direction. But if you are fed the right information, the thing that which you really need, which is valuable for you, then we go higher up in our consciousness. And that is where Prabhupada really is Prabhupada's spiritual master. I mean, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he identified that there is a great need for people to know these messages, and you are the right person to do it. And Prabhupada literally, he took that message, the order on his head, the order of his spiritual master on his head. And today, if we are all sitting and reading, that's because of these, every single word, like say, what is that? Yasmin Prati Shlokam Abhaddhavati api. It may be even imperfect, but still, because of the honesty of the endeavor, honesty of the desire, motive, this will be successful. That's a beautiful point we have to really appreciate again and again. It's most important to our motive and endeavor. If they are honest, then somehow or other it will reach the people and transform it, create a transformation in the hearts of the people. Thank you so much for that point, Prabhu. And that's why Prabhupada literature, this verse is all about Bhagavatam literature, the pure literature. Okay, so let's anyone else? If you have not done, maybe we can go to the purport. If you have done some reading this purport and got down some important points, then please do share. Thank you so much, Suresh Prabhu and Shiva Prabhu, for really digging deep into the purport. This is where I would like our group to go forward. Like before we go to the next sloka, read through the next few slokas, because these two chapters I said, 5th and 6th chapter, they form the fulcrum or the foundation of the entire Bhagavatam. If we can somehow or other get a hold of these two chapters, then every single verse in Bhagavatam we will be able to understand. Somehow by Krishna's mercy. So this forms the, what you call as the basement, the foundation of the entire Bhagavatam, 18,000 slokas to stand on. Okay, so let's read the purport. We'll have some time, so we'll try to read the purport. Anyone would like to read the purport? Slowly, each sentence by sentence. Someone?
Hare Krishna. Should I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is a qualification of the great thinkers to pick up the best even from the worst. It is said that the intelligent man should pick up nectar from a stalk of poison, should accept gold even from the filthy place, should accept a good and qualified wife even from an obscure family, and should accept a good lesson even from a man or from a teacher who comes from the untouchables. These are some of the ethical instructions for everyone in every place without exceptions. But a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always
1 minute,
absorbed.
Mataji. Now, let's try to understand this point here. So up to this but a saint statement now, Prabhupada is talking about some beautiful points here. These are all the qualities of a, ethical instructions for humans especially. Right, without exception, every place without exception. Prabhupada is not saying this is applicable only to people in India, not to people in Australia or Western worlds or whatever, for example. He is applicable to everyone in everyone without exception. Means these are all actually Bhagavata message only, but Bhagavata message for ethical human life, living an ethical life for humans to live a ethical life. Now, this is what Bhagavatam does. Like you see, Swan takes only the good thing and leaves the bad thing. Saints take only the good thing and they leave the bad thing. The negative qualities or the imperfections of someone, they just ignore it, right? So what is it say? What is he saying? Like, but a saint is far above the level of an ordinary man. He is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change, and as a result of propagating the transcendental like Srimad Bhagavata, people will become sane in their transactions. So what is that? He is talking about the saint here, far above the level of an ordinary man.
One who glorifies the Lord and who spreads the message of the Lord.
Yes, that is a saintly person, huh?
Oh, that's what my understanding is.
Yeah, yes. No, you are not wrong. You're not off. You're pretty close to the thing. So what Prabhupada is saying here is that for a saint, simply human ethical thing alone is not enough. Someone can say you take good from the bad, good and leave the bad, then you will be a good person. Yes, you will be a good person, okay. But it's not enough to be a good person. You have to be a godly person. So why it's not enough to just have just the good qualities alone?
They may
What's
be
wrong with
misdirected. They
yeah.
may call it good, but on the things of good things, they may be misdirected. Bad things also can be converted as good things.
Whatever they think is good, it
Yeah,
may be actually
yes.
bad also, because
Not bad also, yes.
So that is we have to go to this sloka 5:18-12. That yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena asati dhavato bahihi. 5:18-12, if you see. It's 5:18-12. Yes. See this sloka, if you see, yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana, someone who is akinchana bhakti, who is doing akinchana bhakti, unflinching devotion to the Lord. Sarvair gunai sastra samasate suraha. All these qualities of the saints, sages, demigods, etc., they will automatically come and reside in us, because Krishna is the reservoir of all these qualities, right? Harava bhaktasya kuto mahatguna. A person may have all the good qualities in the world, but if he is not a devotee of Krishna, or in other words, he is not having faith in Krishna or accepting Krishna's as Krishna as the supreme Lord, then manoratena asato davato bahi. Means manoratena, he will be always roaming around in the mental platform, that anytime he can freak out, anytime he can change, if he is not deriving these good qualities from Krishna. are not accepting that Krishna is the source of all these good qualities. He can also become proud that, oh, I am a great donor, I am a great charitable person, I am a great, I'm a very compassionate person. Like that, we can also develop more pride as a result of these things. When we see that all the qualities are coming only from Krishna and we are not, we are just an instrument, then even if we have all the good qualities, we will not possess, we will not feel ownership. We will not take ownership of these qualities, or just say a proprietorship of these qualities. Shiva Prabhu, you had something to say?
Yes, Prabhuji. See, this definition of human definition of good and bad is very relative, Prabhuji. I bring 2 points. Number one, we have imperfect senses, so we cannot really distinguish the real good and bad. Number two, suppose I do something and I feel that I have really done good, but after a week or so, I might feel, oh, I have done a really bad thing. So these relative things keep changing. So unless we touch Krishna, we will never realize something is good or bad.
Yeah, very, very beautiful point. Yeah. Because and it also keeps us grounded, isn't it, Prabhu? When I say that, see, somebody is glorifying me for some good quality, I will say, no, I am not the owner of this. I mean, it's all coming from my Guru and Krishna. Then I don't feel, in my mind, I don't feel that I am the cause of this or I am the owner of this. So Prabhupada is actually bringing out this point here. And while talking about these different qualities of great thinkers, no, to pick up the best even from the worst. When Prabhupada is saying the statement, he himself has practiced just so much. Even when he saw the hippies, they are so full of all the bad qualities, but but he didn't see those. He only saw them as spirit souls, embodied in this whatever that particular so-and-so body. That's the reason why he was able to inject intravenously that what do you call that Krishna consciousness into them, into their dull heads. Because there's no other way. They have no idea about this culture. They're so absorbed in their own enjoyments and all that how can someone inject it so much and so deeply that for lifetime they had taken this as a way of life. The other thing that you can see the humility of Prabhupada was that initially he was only printing this Back to Godhead magazines when he was in the Vrindavan, right? So when he was doing that, it was such a great difficulty because he had to go all the way from Mathura to Delhi and for printing and back and then distributing it for physically himself. So many times he ran into debts. So this one time, I mean to say the letters or something that which comes Prabhupada, the one postman would bring it and deliver it to Prabhupada in his room in Vrindavan. So when one of the times the postman came and he was giving Prabhupada, this is your magazine that is printed, like that he gave. He knew that Prabhupada has been struggling so hard to print these magazines. So one time he just asked casually, Swamiji, why are you struggling so hard to print these magazines? Magazines people will just read and throw it away. They will not read it again. You are struggling so hard to print these things. If you print books, then they will keep it safe and they will keep reading it again and again. So that Prabhupada immediately saw that as this postman as a voice coming from his Guru Maharaj. His Guru Maharaj is speaking through him. So that's what it triggered that Prabhupada. It triggered Prabhupada that I should start writing this. My Guru Maharaj told me to write books. So I think he's instructing me through this postman that I should sit and seriously write the scriptures. Otherwise, before Prabhupada, nobody has even attempted to write with such detailed commentary for Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, so many different interpretations are there. It's easy for people to do interpretations there. But Bhagavatam you cannot interpret so easily, right? So Prabhupada took it very seriously. He didn't say, hey, what does this postman know about my service? How much he is aware of my Guru Maharaj section? Or, he doesn't know anything about Krishna consciousness. A person can easily think like that. When I came to Pune last time, I think, I don't know if it was last time, maybe last to last time. A couple of times I had to travel by cab from one of the temples to the other temples or whatever. And I was amazed to see when people see you there with tilak on your forehead, they start automatically talking about Krishna, And then the entire 1 hour, 45 minutes conversation, it just goes so nicely that they talk about dharma, they talk about sins, they talk about what we should do as duty, they talk about what Krishna says in Gita. So one of the persons, he said, when I said that I'm going to this, what is that? Kṛṣṇa highway. That's of course that's where I was going to. Then immediately he saw the tilak. He himself asked, "Aap ISKCON jate hai kya?" Then he started automatically started striking a conversation, and he said, "Everybody is doing sins in this world. Nobody is thinking in a saintly way." I have two children. I was trying to put them in different schools, but every school is teaching nonsense only. So I said, okay, now I will put them in our ISKCON school. And I came to the temple once. I asked him, how did you suddenly decided to do this? He said, no, I just came to the temple in one Sunday feast, and I really liked that environment. I decided this must be the place to put my children. And he may not look like a devotee from an outer thing, whatever. But I felt he was literally, making so much sense to me. And this way, people are very much attracted. And how Prabhupada, the literature may be very, what you call, complicated for someone to understand or whatever, at a very common level, ground level. But you see how it can, the whole, our movement or every activity in the movement is substantiated by the conclusions of our Shastras. That's why it is standing firm, even in spite of whatever that may be happening. That's very important for a mission to succeed. If you don't have a proper scriptural base on which your activities can stand, your cultural activities or your daily activities or anything, your habits, everything that can stand, then it can destroy you in due course of time. You can see many such movements or missions. They literally tapered off or are almost became nil once their all charismatic leader was left this world, isn't it? Are taken away from this thing, whatever. But you see, that's why Prabhupada is so glorified for this amazing contribution in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. It can reach to every nook and corner. That person may not appreciate or understand the meaning behind it, but by us practicing the qualities that are exhibited by the are appreciating and practicing the qualities that are exhibited by the devotees in this great scripture, we become the via media for the people to understand what Bhagavatam is trying to say. You got the point? They see us, they see Bhagavatam through us. Like we see Bhagavatam through Prabhupada and all our great devotees. Like that, they also see. That's why person Bhagavata is very important. And we, instead of just simply speaking to the world and not practicing, instead of doing that, if we practice and through us, if you are able to inspire others about what a great literature is Bhagavatam, in a very little, in a way which is easily understandable way, that Tukaram, our Surdas and all Tulsidas, they all had given their instructions, like that. There are many who have converted that and converted it. That's why Prabhupada also, if you read this shloka alone, we may not get so much message. But if you see that sadhu means he should be thoroughly honest. That he proves by through the translation and the purport also, how a sadhu should behave. He is thoroughly honest. In that, my motive has to be honest, my endeavor has to be honest. And it is to bring everybody to Krishna and not to me. Then it goes in the right direction. This is how we learn from this. When we say saint is far above the level of an ordinary man, he is always absorbed in glorifying the Supreme Lord, because by broadcasting the holy name and fame of the Supreme Lord, the polluted atmosphere of the world will change. And as a result of propagating the transcendental literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, people will become sane in their transactions. Amazing words these are. Sane in their transactions. In my transaction, I have to be sane. Sane means there's two sins, no, insane and sane. And the sane word goes very much with saintliness. Sane means saintly. Let's say this word insane means one who is mad. He doesn't behave like a human being. How a human being should behave. Sane and saintliness are synonymous. So that sanity, we call it a sanity, no? One who is a sanity. Sanity means he is correct to the letter. Whatever Bhagavatam says, that is sanity or saintly. And he follows that. He is also sane, and he follows the path of sanity. Sanity means when somebody is shouting at me in anger, I don't shout. I say, okay, this person, sanity means I see everything in its place, in its order. Oh, this person is not shouting. The soul is pure. This person is shouting because he is in the modes. His mind and body are covered by the modes. If I retaliate, it will only agitate him more, because he is even more going. Like last Wednesday, we saw this sloka where Brahma is advising Prithu Maharaj, isn't it? Like Indra, he is throwing gutter at you, and if you also throw gutter at him, both of you, there is no difference between the two of you, because your hand also will be dirty and his hand also will be dirty. Your face also will be dirty. His face also will be dirty. Right? So there is no difference between the two of you. So he says, the more you try to rectify such reversals, counteract him by trying to teach him a lesson, you will have to think so badly also. And that thinking process, you will end up being like him. And there won't be any difference between you and that person. Right? This is sanity. You understand this part of that's why he is telling us, sane in our transactions. He is angry, you don't be angry. If he is stealing from you, you don't again steal from him. You just say, try to give some protection around your thing, and just make sure that you don't unnecessarily counteract that person's activities, tit for tat, like that. So in our transactions, if you are sane, transactions can be monetary, transactions can be physical, transactions can be relational, based on emotions. Emotional transactions we can do, right? Financial transactions we can do, and mental transactions we can do in terms of encouraging that person. Everything comes under the emotional transactions. So in every transaction we have to be sane. Oh, that person made me feel bad, I will also make him feel bad. That means it's like the sadhu and the dog. There's no two dogs fight. There's no sadhu and a dog here. I see one dog and another dog fighting. Krishna says, do you know that story? No. Krishna was in Dwarka. He was taking prasadam. Rukmini was serving, and suddenly he got up. What happened in the bhumi, in the earth? The sadhu is there, innocent sadhu. But suddenly one dog started chasing him. So he was running literally for his life. And the dog is a wild dog. It was chasing him very much. So immediately Krishna got up saying that, oh, my devotee is in trouble. I have to help him. And Rukmini said, your devotees are always in trouble. When will you have prasadam? Come on, you have prasadam and go. Then no, I have to go to help. And after a few seconds, a few moments, he sat down. He said, no, Rukmini Devi asked him, are you not going to help your devotee? By that time, what happened? This sadhu went to a corner and he saw one stone, and he started taking the stone and about to beat the dog. And the dog was now running away, and the sadhu is chasing the dog. So then Krishna was telling Rukmini Devi, now there is no dog chasing a Swadu, it's another dog chasing a dog, so I don't have to worry. So they will sort out each other. So, so Krishna doesn't intervene if we are not sane in our transactions. You got the point? If you are sane in our transactions, the other person may not be sane, but from our side, if you are sane, then Krishna will interfere. Like in Draupadi's case, or in Pandava's case, or Prahlad's case. Hiranyakashipu was trying to kill Prahlad. Prahlad also could have bribed some of the soldiers and tried to kill Hiranyakashipu. Something he could have done, right? Like that, anybody you take, they can counteract. They could have counteracted. But when we don't counteract, Durvasa Muni released that Rakshasa. We saw that recently. And Ambarish Maharaj could have captured Durvasa Muni with the help of his soldiers, or he could have invoked Krishna, whatever. He didn't do. So that is called sanity in transaction. Means Avasya Rakshibe Krishna. Krishna will definitely protect me. Nobody can harm me if Krishna is protecting. And when we have that thought, then that is sanity in transaction. And later, at some point, that other person who was trying to harm us will realize. Because Krishna is there in Paramatma in his heart also, in their heart also. Sometimes they will, when some little bit of some light comes in their heart, they will do. So the sanity becomes sane in the transactions. What an amazing wording it is. Prabhupada, you can cover every single transaction in this world in just these 2-3 words. Sane in their transactions. India and China can also be sane in their transactions. India and France can also be sane in their transactions. You see, when just whatever I was observing just last couple of days, when our Prime Minister Modi was actually was traveling to France, right? He was traveling to France, and there's some few meetings and other things are going on. But just before he was going, this one, what is that? One European Union thing, they released some something about our internal status, Manipur or whatever. Nobody from India comments about what's happening in Europe or Australia or whatever. This is an internal national matter, right? It's not an international matter. It is intranet within the country. So there is a strongly worded statement sent by our ministry that, you please keep your mouth shut. This is our internal matter. We don't poke our nose into yours. You also don't poke your nose into ours. Right. So that is also European Union, and Modi is also traveling to Europe only. France is the heart of Europe. So he could have, in some place, he could have highlighted in somewhere saying that, we are coming here, we are doing this, you people are doing this, etc., etc. But there you see that, I don't have an agenda behind these things. We have some other purpose for which you have come here. There are one small group might have said, but you don't have to express your agony or whatever disappointment to a big group of thing where it is may not be really needed to be expressed there. So a time, place, and circumstance where you open your mouth and express yourself is very important, or the way you respond to such things. It is a vocal instigation need not be always reciprocated by a vocal. I mean, what do you call that as in a vocal way? A vocal instigation. Somebody is instigating us vocally. You don't have to respond to them also vocally. You can. There are so many different ways to respond, which is even more powerful. That's why it is said, my Guru Maharaj always used to say the beautiful words that the loudest the loudest sound is actually silence. And then he'll also say one more statement: one who speaks the last is heard the loudest. So, we don't. These are some of the things where we should be sane in our transactions. When some injustice is done to us, immediately retaliating on it, like for like kind of a thing, may not bear the best fruits. When the Pandavas were injustice, the injustice was done to them throughout their life, till to the forest, going to forest, whatever. They did not speak a single word. That is why they were victorious at the last. That is why they got the support of Krishna. Because they knew without Krishna's interference, not a single blade of grass can move. So I think we should take it as Krishna's arrangement, and we should just wait for the right opportunity. We should not think like many times in the forest also when they were there for the 13, 14 years. Actually, Bhima, Draupadi, they both were very much pushing Yudhishthira Maharaj to just stop this austerity, get back to Hastinapur and fight with this guy Duryodhana and all the Kauravas and get back your kingdom. But Yudhishthira Maharaj said, no, this is not the time. We have to wait. We should not, we have accepted this punishment and we should go through this completely. We should not become agitated, even though it may be done out of injustice to us. Let's keep quiet. Let's silently forbear it. Accept it. Go through this situation patiently. Krishna will do the best in the end. That's the most important thing we should learn there. So the sanity in transaction, Yudhishthira Maharaj is sane in his transaction. He may be doing nonsense to me, but I am a learned person. I know what is good and what is wrong, what is right and what is wrong. So let me do the right thing. Right. So that's a beautiful thing here. Let's go further. Now Prabhupada is starting to. Sorry. Go ahead, Mataji. Yeah.
Should I read from our neighboring friend?
While preparing.
While preparing this commentation on this particular stanza of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have a crisis before us. Our neighboring friend China has attacked the border of India with a militaristic spirit.
So when did this China war started? 62 or 65? 62, I think, right?
No idea.
62, Prabhu.
62, correct. Yeah. So which means Prabhupada wrote this purport in 1962. Right? 4 years before going to the West. Amazing, huh? It's a nice chronology. Prabhupada doesn't put every single thing in, but it's also in relation to Bhagavatam. Nice. Let's go further.
We have practically no business in the political field, yet we see that previously there were both China and India, and they both lived peacefully for centuries without ill feelings. The reason is that they lived those days in an atmosphere of God consciousness, and every country over the surface of the world was God fearing, pure hearted, and simple, and there was no question of political diplomacy. There is no cause of quarrel between the two countries, China and India, over the land which is not very suitable for habitation, and certainly there is no cause for fighting on this issue. But due to the age of coral, Kali, which we have discussed, there is always a chance of coral on slight provocation. This is due to not this is due not to the issue in question, but to polluted atmosphere of this age. Systematically, there is propaganda by a section of people to stop glorification of the name and the fame of Supreme Lord.
Yes, it continues even now. It's even worse than before, right? So this is what Prabhupada is highlighting. And when one side is systematically they do a systematic propaganda to stop this holy name glorification of Krishna. So what should we do? We should also systematically propagate the holy names and glorification of Krishna. Otherwise, there is no way we can. If we also go and fight with them in their own language or whatever, it doesn't work. Prabhupada fought for the force of Kali with the power of Bhagavatam. That is why there is at least a bit of sanity spreading in some place at least. Please continue, Mataji.
Therefore, there is a great need for disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world.
See how Prabhupada is beautifully using this word disseminating. What is disseminating means?
Spreading.
Yeah, but same. What is the usual? What do you call? I mean, the where it is used very frequently.
No idea.
No idea.
Spread of disease.
No. Normally
News?
this same. Huh?
News, etc. Prabhu.
No, no, no.
The PDS system disseminating rations to the needy.
No. That is distributing.
Distribution.
This is dissemination.
Is it in the farming?
What do you do?
Spreading the seeds.
Yeah, you
Spreading the
just throw
seeds.
seeds. Like that's when like this what do they call it as this? Bees go from one place to another and they do that, no?
Pollination.
Pollination, yes, that's also called dissemination. So when you like throw paddy thing in the field, like you just throw. So it's like that. You just keep going and just throwing everywhere. The thoughts, ideas. It's not like whom to say this thing and all that. There is no need to wait to see if the right person comes. You speak. Those days they used to do. They will speak only to the right person. Vidura, Maitreya, they are like that. But for our case, there is no right thing, broad thing, and everybody is wrong only. So better you just go and speak to anybody and everybody who comes. So that way the systematic propaganda will happen. So the spreading of books is one best way. You just say, oh, you don't have time to listen to me. Okay, I will give you this book. You read it in your leisure. If you have any questions, you come to me. Then I will explain to you. So that is how it is. And then so much is buried inside this great literatures that when you give, it's like a pollination, just goes everywhere from one place to another place to another place. Suresh Prabhu? Yes, sorry, Prabhu. Prabhu, you are on mute.
Here actually, for the we have indebted to Prabhupada for giving this Bhagavatam to us, and it is our responsibility. I personally feel that we should at least distribute one Bhagavatam set to our contacts.
Yeah, definitely. And that is one of the primary thing that even as we are coming along with the Bhadra Purnima things also, it's not only during Bhadra Purnima, but it's one thing is about giving the books. Another thing is to make them read those books. Otherwise, it just decorates their shelf. That's all. So, and Bhagavad Gita itself, not many people are opening and reading. Bhagavatam, forget about it, right? So it's only very, very few people would open it and read. So we have to feel so fortunate to have been able to have the opportunity, chance, and the taste to relish Prabhupada's every word. Forget about every verse, every thing. So it's important for us to disseminate this also. That see how much Prabhupada has given. How much effort Prabhupada has put to give dissemination word. Where did he find it from? And it is in 1962. He is studied in Scottish in college or whatever. So it's the way he uses this word assimilation, dissemination. It's not very easy. These days nobody uses these words, isn't it? They say go speak and come. Who says go and disseminate this message? Right? Dissemination, there is a beautiful word buried inside. So that's why I'm saying like these little odd words that Prabhupada is speaking, immediately you stop and see where the meanings are, whatever. Even approximate meaning that Google or something gives, that is also good enough for us to relish what Prabhupada is trying to say here. Okay, let's go further.
Anybody want to read, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
Or should
Yeah,
I
anyone? Oh, who wants to read further? Gaurav Prabhu?
Yeah, Prabhu, I can read.
Yes.
Where are we, Mataji?
Dissemination. Disseminating the message of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. It is a duty of every responsible Indian.
It is the duty of every responsible Indian to broadcast this the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the world, to do all the supermost good as well as to bring about the desired peace in the world.
So we know what shloka Prabhupada is talking about here, no? Bharata Bhumite Manusha Hoyle Janmaya. Yeah.
Because India has failed in her duty by neglecting this responsible work, there is so much quarrel and trouble all over the world. We are confident that if the transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam is received only by the leading men of the world, certainly there will be a change of heart, and naturally the people in general will follow them.
So what is Prabhupada, which shloka Prabhupada is referring here?
Yeah,
okay. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, both are there.
Yes. The mass of people in general are tools in the hands of the modern politicians and leaders of the people. If there is a change of heart of the leaders only, certainly there will be a radical change in the atmosphere of the world. We know that our honest attempt to present this great literature conveying transcendental messages for reviving the God consciousness of the people in general and re-spiritualizing the world atmosphere is fraught with many difficulties.
See, 1 minute. Why Prabhupada is saying re-spiritualizing? And reviving.
Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji. Because
Yes,
spiritualization was there. It was a spiritualized world, but it has died down because of the age of the Kali, and it is reviving now. It is that's why re-spiritualization.
Revive means already the life was there. It's kind of about to leave, so he is reviving it again. Re-spiritualizing means it was already spiritual only, but gotten into material consciousness, so he has to re-spiritualize it. What mood does this bring? I mean, what mood of Prabhupada that this is showing, this particular two words, reviving and re-spiritualizing? Beautiful statement. Jivera Swarupa Hoye, Krishna Nitya Das. And not only that, it shows the...
One more, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Nitya Shuddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai.
Beautiful. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunai. Shravanada Shuddha Chitte Kare Uday. Automatically Uday, it arises, isn't it? Beautiful. See, each line is revealing some nice words from. We got Bhagavatam, we got Bhagavad Gita, we got Chaitanya Charitamrita also. These three statements. Now, this is bringing out a beautiful point. What is that? Prabhupada, this is the most saintly, complete saintly person. Because he doesn't see anybody as bad. While he's talking about the atmosphere as bad, but he's not, we see people as being victimized by this atmosphere, and maybe some of the miscreants, whatever, but even those miscreants are not by nature, they are not villains or bad people in that sense. He sees them as two separate things. One is a mind that is contaminated by the three modes, another is the Atma. I can see either of these two. If I see the Atma, then I feel compassionate for that person, that Atma. If I see only this bad side of things, the person is bad, identify that person with the modes and the mind, then I try to take revenge, because when I see a person in the Atma platform, I act in the Atma platform. When I see a person in the modes platform, I see the person, I myself act in the modes platform, the guna. Right? So this we can see Prabhupada is completely on the is a self-realized Paramahamsa. That's why he's using these words, disseminating, re-spiritualizing, reviving. How much Prabhupada must have thought over to write these things. That's why this literature is so pure. Any nonsense person can come and comment on it. Still nobody can come even 1% of what Prabhupada has done. Sitting in the Vrindavan lonely place in 1962, 61 years before, imagine. 61 years before, he's sitting and writing in a small room. Who will be thinking of this? If I am sitting in a small room like this, even now you go to Vrindavan, so many devotees are there, you feel like going there. But you go in a time when nobody is there in some corner and sit and read. We can't sit for even a half an hour and read this. We will be looking for, oh my God, and sitting too lonely. Let me go to here, let me go to Yamuna, let me go to Govardhan, let me go to Gesi Ghat. We go there and like literally we are like headless chickens. We run around. I'm not saying we should not do that. I'm just saying we are so much absorbed into, oh, I have to go there, I have to go there, I have to go there, I have to go there. Okay, you go all those places, but take out some time to sit and read these books. Prabhupada, for some time at least sitting there and doing some discussion at least. Prabhupada is not asking you to sit there and write. Prabhupada is asking you to sit there and read at least. Reading is much easier than writing actually. But just a little time and our stomach starts speaking. I'm hungry. Come on, give me some prasadam. So our Dham visit is very interesting by itself.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
is this the same time when Srila Prabhupada was traveling from Vrindavan to Delhi and then printing these Back to Godhead magazines?
Maybe little after, maybe around that time, but I think he started writing, of course. He was doing printing also in background. I heard in Daivi Shakti Mataji's lecture that March to October non-stop, which year I forgot. I don't know if it was 61 or 62 or whatever. That's the time he was.
I have the notes, Prabhu. I'll share it.
If you had heard that, you see,
Yes,
maybe
yes.
it might have been overlapping a bit. He might not
Maybe.
have completely stopped it. He stopped it only because of no funds available. Otherwise, he was continuing BTG irrespective of the other services that was going on.
Prabhu, one more
Yes,
question.
Prabhu.
So, why does Srila Prabhupada says that it is fraught with many difficulties? I mean, he has just started writing.
Frailties. Fraught with many difficulties, correct. Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
Prabhu. So, I mean, all the difficult phases are yet to come. I mean, he has to go to in Jaladuta and bear the heart attacks, and then whatever struggle he went through in USA. So, I mean, the real difficulties were yet to come. But
no, that's the difficulties which we know. That is why we think it's a real difficulty. Before that is even more difficult. Because the formative, Prabhu, once you start the company and running, then people will start joining and you'll be too busy with all those things. But starting up to that point is the real challenging part, no? Like groundwork is the most challenging thing. So, I mean, Prabhupada did not come with a suitcase full of notes to Vrindavan. Prabhupada's Godfather says he came exactly like a Daravesh. How Sanatana Goswami came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri. Like that, Prabhupada, his shirt was torn. He's a well-known businessman. His business was running very nice, and he would be so perfect in his dressing and his outward look or whatever you want to call it. Being a grahastha and proper businessman and learned also. Right? For him to leave the home and come without eating anything, like with all beard and completely like almost like a beggar, he came to Vrindavan. And somehow in most of his godbrothers also rejected. Only one or two was there. I think Keshav Maharaj. He was the one who received him and said, "Okay, you at least have some time with me." So he was spending his time there. Prabhupada writing these great words, whatever this is there, this is actually Krishna's kripa, not on Prabhupada, Krishna's kripa on us.
Yes, Prabhu. Perfectly said.
Krishna made, because see, Prabhu, if Prabhupada was not given that little opportunity, see, with that little opportunity, he could write so much depth. And Daivi Shakti Mataji also says that Prabhupada would sit with those great scholars in the Radharaman temple Pujari and Damodar temple Pujari and all, and for hours together they will be discussing. And Prabhupada didn't have much money to buy anything, so he had only one pencil. And so they both will exchange the same pencil. He would ask the Radharaman Goswami, I don't know what his name, Nityan Goswami or forgot his name. So Purnachandra Goswami or something. He will take the notes, pencil, and he will correct it. And then Prabhupada will take it and he will do the changes. So like this, they were living almost in poverty situation. And they didn't care, but the message that was given is so rich. The literature that they have given us is so rich. So we don't know how much they had gone through. The actual difficulty, I would say, the real difficulty was before going in Jalduta. Chalduta is also pain only, but after that it's like what do you call? It's in like in movies and all. You get this in overnight they become rich person. Only that the whole thing changed upside down. But before that, that's why in Leelamrita also, if you see Prabhu, there are 6 volumes. Prabhupada Leelamrita. In that the first volume was completely dedicated to his the stage before going to the Jaldutta. And it's called, I think, A Lifetime in Preparation or something.
Yes.
Right? So it's a complete a lifetime in preparation, especially the last 10 years before, 10, 12 years before he went to the West. No? Those are the most challenging times. Because Prabhupada didn't actually feel like I will start a movement myself. He went to every single one of his godbrother and say, can we collaborate and do this for our Guru Maharaj? Can we collaborate, do a team, get a team to do this thing? Nobody was interested. And what will he do? Big sannyasis and brahmacharis are not able to cooperate. And as a grahastha, how much he will do? They were the ones who spent the maximum time with Padishah Satsitakur. But Prabhupada, he was considering himself much lower compared to the other the sannyasi disciples, even though he is also well learned and much better in that sense. So that is there, Prabhu, really. So that's why he's saying fraught with difficulties. And yes, even more so when he went to the West, because there the kind of people he was dealing with are completely like they don't have any idea about this, whatever Prabhupada is talking about. Here at least the people know what he's talking about, realize his value, but they didn't have any idea behind what he was doing. And so there is no question of valuing his greatness. Now we are valuing even more and more and more as the time passes by. So yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhupada, he was eating one time meal. Only one time he went to cook. And that too, he was cooking himself.
Yeah.
So it was a very difficult time.
Yeah, very, very difficult. And no AC, Prabhu. And the summer time in Govardhan and Vrindavan, things will go to 45, 50 degrees. It's not easy to sit there. And that too, you know how that Radha Damodar room is, right? There is no much air to pass through.
He gave advance of rent of 4 rupees. For 6 months, something that rent was there.
Yeah.
And he said, take this money. I am going to tell you, you just repair this one, make somewhat usable and repair that one.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, you should hear Devi Shakti Mataji's recollection, amazing thing. Every minute thing she would share in those, especially about the Vrindavan days. Okay, so let's read further.
Are presenting this matter in adequate language, especially in a foreign language, we certainly fail. And there will be so many literary discrepancies despite our honest attempt to present it in a proper way.
See, how many times did Prabhupada use the word honest so far in this purport? I mean,
Yes.
Three times. 3 times.
3 times so far, huh? Okay, let's go further.
But we are sure that with all our faults in this connection, the seriousness of the subject matter will be taken into consideration. And the leaders of the society still accept this due to its being an honest attempt to glorify the Almighty God.
Amazing, no? See, he's still having the hope that people not look at Prabhupada's English is not so good, or so this language it's not done properly, etc. But the whole message, because it's a honest attempt, the attempt is honest. That for that alone it will succeed. Yes, let's read further. Prabhupada gives a beautiful example here now.
Yeah, when there is a fire in a house, the inmates of the house go out to get help from the neighbors who may be foreigners, and yet without knowing the language, the victim of the fire express themselves and the neighbor understand the need, even though not expressed in the same language. The same spirit of cooperation is needed to broadcast this transcendental message of Srimad Bhagavatam throughout the polluted atmosphere of the world.
Beautiful, no? See, this example fits the best If you are really in a fire, you will not be thinking, oh, I'm in Gujarat, I will speak, I don't know Gujarati, how will I express, fire? Or I'm in Maharashtra, how do you know? Right? You just speak whatever. I mean, you just shout and people will somehow or other get the help, needed. So the same spirit is needed to distribute the message. Don't worry about technicalities of this grammatically this is wrong, this is not the correct word to use, etc., etc. But the whole reason is that this whole world is going to dumps. We have to save somehow or other. Shiva Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, the same example of being caught up in a fire in house, we use, Prabhupada uses for another place also. Like, we do not investigate how I came to this world. Our real motivation is to get out of this fire, and we should not investigate why I came here. So this is also
Beautiful.
used in this example.
Beautiful, Prabhu. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
And
Okay,
it also represents that sansara davanala leader loka.
Yeah. You man, understand what kind of a dangerous position you are in. Don't look into analyze where it came from, how I came here. That all doesn't work. Please continue further, Prabhu.
Yeah, after all, it is a technical science of spiritual values, and thus we are connected with the techniques
Concerned.
and concerned with the techniques and not with the language.
Beautiful phrase, no? Bhagavatam, it is a technical science of spiritual values. Let's spend some time offline to understand why Prabhupada is using this word technical science of spiritual values. Amazing. This is, I mean, whenever I read this phrase, no, I can't but marvel Prabhupada's way of presenting so nicely. It's a spiritual value, but it is technical science, right? So let's take it offline. Do share your this thing in the our group as to what is your understanding of this phrase, technical science of spiritual values. Let's not discuss it here. We are running a little bit late, so we should conclude this. Please, Prabhu.
If the techniques of this great literatures are understood by the people of the world, there will be success.
Beautiful. Let's next paragraph. Somebody wants to read? Anyone volunteering?
Okay, I will read.
Yes, Prabhu.
If the technique of this great literature are understood by the people of the world, there will be success. When there are too many materialistic activities by the people in general all over the world, there is no wonder that a person or a nation attacks another person or nation on slight provocation. That is the rule of this age of Kali or quarrel. The atmosphere is already polluted with the corruption of all description, and everyone knows it well. There are so many unwanted literatures full of materialistic ideas of sense gratification. In many countries, there are bodies appointed by the state to detect and censor obscene literature. This means that neither the government nor the responsible leaders of the public want such literature. Yet it is in the marketplace because the people want it for sense gratification. The people in general want to read. This is a natural instinct, but because their minds are polluted, they want such literature. Under the circumstances, transcendental literature like Srimad Bhagavatam will not only diminish the activities of the corrupt mind of the people in general, but also it will supply food for their hankering. After reading some interesting literature, in the beginning, they may not like it because one suffering from jaundice is reluctant to take sugar candy. But we should know that sugar candy is only remedy for jaundice.
So
Similarly,
this is also another verse from Nectar of Instruction. You can find it out and share. It's a beautiful sloka. Prabhupada appreciate it very much. Okay, let's read further.
similarly, let there be systematic propaganda for encouraging reading of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which will act like sugar candy for the jaundice-like condition of the sense gratification. When men have a taste for this literature, the other literatures which are catering poison to society will then automatically cease. We are sure, therefore, that everyone in human society will welcome Srimad Bhagavatam, even though it is now presented with so many forms. For it is recommended by Sri Narada, who has very kindly appeared in this chapter. Thank you.
So nice, no?
Uh,
Prabhupada is actually living in this verse. So he's saying very kindly has appeared in this chapter. So he sees chapter like a place where he has appeared. Oh, he has just arrived in Bangalore. He has just arrived in Pune, like that, He just arrived and appeared himself in this chapter. This is really amazing that Prabhupada is saying, let there be systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So our job does not stop with distributing the literature. That's what I'm trying to insist. It's not enough to just distribute and then stop with that. Systematic propaganda for popularizing reading of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Like what we are doing here. This is just one small drop in the ocean, kind of.
yes, bro.
If many more such groups start getting developed and there is a serious discussion of this great literature, Gita, Bhagavatam, all or Prabhupada's books, whatever, then it will clear the jaundice-like disease of this. Jaundice means you see everything yellow, everything appears yellow for you because, or in other words, even the sugar candy is tasting like a bitter thing for you. Actually, sugar candy is tasty. So Bhagavatam also is like that. The verse is Syat Krishna Nama Charita Disitapi Avidya Pittopatapta Rasanasya Narochikano Kintu Adarad Anudinam Kalusai Vajushta Swadvi Kramat Bhavatidat Tad Gata Mulahantri. From the root, it destroys this the disease of jaundice. Only the sugar candy. Initially, it will be bitter, but that's the only medicine. Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita may look like a bitter thing for someone who is contaminated so deeply. But continuously taking that is the only medicine for him to come out of that modes and situate himself in the transcendental state. So that is where Adarat Anudinam Kalusai Vajushta. Adarat means with respect, Anudinam, every day. If we keep on reading and studying these literatures, then eventually we will be cured of this disease, jaundice. And the whole world is suffering from this jaundice disease. That's why we have to propagate this more seriously. We'll stop here. Any further final points from anyone before we? Thank you for reading the purport, Prabhu's. Really appreciate it, and Mataji also. So nice of you. It's such a wonderful purport that doesn't feel like, you feel like reading it again and again and again.
Prabhupada is an incarnation of Narad Muni in this material world.
Yes, Prabhu. Incarnation of both Narad Muni and Vyasadeva combined, He could write also and he could propagate also. Yeah, so nice.
He
Yes,
further
Prabhu.
handed the chair to you, Prabhu.
No, don't put it that way. Everybody of us is actually followers of Prabhupada, sincere followers of Prabhupada. We are nothing really. All our Guru Maharajas are doing such great sevas and following the footsteps of Prabhupada. We should simply, unflinchingly follow in their footsteps so that we can please Prabhupada through them. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Gaurav Prabhu, you are going to say something?
So, Prabhu, I don't know. I mean, this question may be a little foolish, but I was just curious to know. I mean, in previous verse 1, 5, 10, we were reading like the place of pilgrimage for crows. So Prabhu, why it is, I mean, place for pilgrimage? I mean, it should have place for enjoyment or place for something degradation or something like that.
But they think it is pilgrimage, Prabhu. We see that as a nonsense gathering. But they, Prabhu, when they get into these conference rooms or any meetings or anything, without God consciousness, they're trying to do something now. Don't you think they are feeling that's the most important thing to do? Sometimes they wake up all night to prepare for something which is next day it's of no use, kind of a thing, just mundane thing, whatever they are, without any faith in God, they're just doing their thing. That's why it is called pilgrimage for crows. And pilgrimage means they're doing it so seriously. Pilgrimage means you're supposed to do it seriously. So they're doing it so seriously, but it's all for nothing. And we can also say that way, many of our pilgrimage also ends up that way. If you don't go and take advantage of the saintly people out there, or the saintly environment out there, just go there for the sake of, just put some water on your head, think that you are purified. That's no use, isn't it?
वो हिंदी में कहते हैं प्रभु, वो पर्यटन हो जाता है, वो तीर्थाटन नहीं होता है.
Paryata means you waste so much, you struggle so hard to go, but there is no remembrance of Krishna. You can do entire Govardhan Parikrama, but you don't remember Krishna, then what's the purpose, what's the use of that? So the idea is that anything that you do should move us one step closer to Krishna, or at least a few steps, if not more. That's how our approach should be. Even when we go for a yatra, how many of us go? I mean, I'm not putting in a negative sense, but it's a reality also that people go for just fun sake. That, oh, my friend is going, I will also go. I will have some fun time with them. And they just go. They want to see the whole place and then just come back. They say, oh, it's nice to see here, nice to see there, etc., etc. So there is no real urge to go for purifying our qualities or our habits, our tendencies, develop it in a more saintly way, be more sane in our transactions, become more of a genuine devotee. That's why I was hearing a beautiful statement yesterday. I was hearing a lecture of my Guru Maharaj, and he was making a beautiful statement. He said, we all like to be called as devotees, but we actually don't want to become devotees. Somehow, if somebody calls me, you are a good devotee, I like it, but what quality of devotee I have? I don't endeavor to develop them, So that's some beautiful thing. That's where pilgrims of crows go. Actually, Sukant Prabhu quoted an interesting verse. Dhana jana graha dali rakha kori amit matro sevaka haya. If I continue to maintain wealth, family members, because they are all yours, mere servant. Yes, is this some from Bhajan, Prabhu?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. It is from Sharanagati, Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Which bhajan is it?
Sharanagati chapter. The name is.
How does it start?
Amara bolite Prabhu ar kichu nai.
Okay. Yeah, Bhakti Vinod Thakur writes amazing bhajans. This is really
I wanted to just.
Bhajans.
Yeah, Prabhu. So I just wanted to share a little realization.
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhu.
It may be a bit away from what we are discussing. How I feel like when you are discussing economics, politics in relation to this verse and this purport, I was going back to this Sharanagati, because in our last 2-3 weeks we are discussing Sharanagati in our Bhakti Vriksha classes. So somehow my mind was going to that Sharanagati verses where we are saying that we have this economy, this politics, what we are doing. Ultimately, we don't have Sharanagati towards Krishna, and that's the reason everything is emanating out of.
Really, Prabhu. Anything you will be connected to Bhagavatam. It's really nice, Prabhu. All these bhajans actually they are not different from Bhagavatam, Prabhu. The bhajans written by all our acharyas, not only Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas, even Tukaram, Narsimha Mehta, Surdas, anything you can connect it with Bhagavatam some easily. That's what their whole purpose is, to bring Bhagavatam to the common people through their colloquial language, bhajans to the colloquial language, the local language, etc. And we should be really, really thankful to them for that, because when you have go and speak Bhagavatam to some specific language people, it's very important to connect with their local thing, and immediately they will connect. Like in Canada, you will see a lot of interesting thing. Purandara Das Kriti is, like I was talking to one of the Matajis here, one family here, where that Mataji, that mother, is more proficient in Purandara Das Kritis. He's a Vaishnava, perfect Krishna devotee. And as I was discussing Bhagavatam, she was quoting parallelly so many kirtans of kritis of Purandradas, and they are exactly matching to what the conclusions of the shlokas. So that's why we should be really thankful to them, because in India, Prabhu, this is such a rich culture. In every language you have bhakti literatures. Every language. Any language you go, you will see bhakti literatures are there, and everything is connected. You will see they are all connected somehow or other. So that's the beauty, Prabhu. And it doesn't conclude only with the Hinduism or something. It is across even all other religions also. You go there, you will see them related to this, our Sanatana Dharma. So nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much for that. Amazing quote also. I think we should stop here, Prabhu Mataji's. Really, thanks for joining in. And I know we had this purport really is the cause of our extension a little bit today. And I mean, frankly speaking, it will discuss even more on this many points. But thanks so much for your wonderful homework and sharing your realizations also, Prabhu and Matas. So we'll stop here, and Krishna willing will continue next week. Next week, I mean, yeah, middle of the week, Krishna willing.